What the heck is Counterspace? I don't know. Looks a wee bit trippy. We conjecture ahead.
Although this is going to be weird, and it's going to be about a different.
Title of the conference was something like "Ground Truth" or "Turtles All the Way Down," and so it seems as though there's one Ruliad. I don't think it rules them all, and it might be just hyper-rulial turtles all the way down.
Yes, it's on the back of an infinite number of hyper-rulial turtles.
Various people are commenting on the outrage of hacking the universe on a MacBook Air.
Hey guys, what's going on? Memes here. So, there's a lot of conjecturing about all the different stuff and things, the particular forces of our realm of persistence, and what may or may not, I don't know, actually be dark matter. How are we saying these are facts? I've conjectured before. I call it the Uzumaki effect. I'm just saying I think a lot of other people have noticed this before. So what do we have here? There's from a website. Where are we? Let's see. t.goanum.org. Oh, Counterspace. Ooh, look. You're going into more of a central point. That's pretty cool. Counterspace is a space in which subtle forces work, such as those of life, which are not amenable to ordinary measurement. It is the polar opposite of Euclidean space. It was discovered by the observations of Rudolf Steiner. I thought they just said it was unobservable. Or did we discover something really weird? We continue. And described geometrically by George Adams and independently by Louis Lochner Ernst. Instead of having its ideal elements in a plane at infinity, it has them in a point at infinity. They are lines and planes rather than lines and points, as in ordinary space. We call this point the counter space infinity. So that a plane incident what is said to be an ideal plane or plane at infinity in counter space. It only appears thus for different kinds of consciousness, namely a peripheral one, which experiences such a point as an infinite inwardness, in contrast to normal consciousness. Oh. So this might actually be something completely different from what I was actually looking for. Yes. There's a lot at play here. We go to our friend's Fractal woman. All right, we're going to take a look at this because she's been talking about this. Apparently, this was something that an electrical engineer, Eric Dollard, basically is going through a lot of different equations. There's like a video from him at like a local college or lecture hall from like 20 or so years. I've listened almost like the full 3 hours. I may or may not fall asleep to it a couple of times. But I'm noticing a lot of things he's talking about. Basically, Planck boundaries. He's basically talking about an ether. I'm like, we're not holding ourselves up because it's like, well, there's an ether. There's no ether. We get an experiment. When was that? Like 100 years ago. And I'm hearing superfluid. I mean, that sounds like the ether. I mean, if there's an ether and we're just ignoring it, why? Because we don't want to admit that we said something that was incorrect. It's already we're going up on the. I'm just saying, if we have the proper instrumentation, why wouldn't we try to measure things again, or at least a more precision? Sometimes we get things wrong. It's okay. It's science. It's supposed to be a process. I say this as apparently some really smart folks are saying that I may or may not be occasionally engaging in science. That's pretty sweet. I go to Fractal. Oh my god. There we go. Oh my god, the volume is. Oh, here we go. All right, she goes.
Small scale, let's say,
Basically, you
relative
start
to
going into
large
like a different
scale.
fractal set,
And so as I
and as
zoom
you keep
into the
going in,
fractal
oh look,
pattern,
look at
I
these
need, in order
lines of
to zoom
resonance. Oh no, I went out
into
of it.
the region of the complex
Basically, as
plane
you
where there
continue to go
aren't any
further and further,
fractals.
she basically
And when I
runs
do
out of
that,
digits of
you
look.
see that, of course, there is no interesting fractal information in this region of the complex plane. I am
Okay,
actually surfing the line
but
between
occasionally there might be some pretty cool
fractal.
stuff. So
Now, last time I showed you how
here we go.
as I zoom into
I
the
skipped ahead way
Mandelbrot
too far.
fractal,
Hey, zombie. What's
the
going on? Hey, you white
the
shackle.
spaces between the
That's
rulers and or the size of the pixels,
a
however
very
you
good
want to
answer,
see it,
awesome one.
get
That's the
smaller
thing.
and smaller
No,
and
but basically you see
smaller.
is you end up seeing a
Okay,
lot of different effects
so that's just one
again and
aspect
again
of
and again,
Counterspace.
and just like my
Counterspace
my base thing is I'm like, again, there's allegedly been a really good study that people aren't willing to share their data with. They're like, yeah, we kind of like measured all around the solar system. Yeah, we see dark matter basically everywhere. Where is it? Basically in areas where there's always matter. I am not a doctoral student in physics, but when
is
I see cool stuff like this, and again, maybe I just watch far too much anime. I'm like, okay, we consider like the really main points. What if that was matter? It seems the areas where you have more matter, there'll be different lines and different stuff and things tracing out. I'm gonna paraphrase Commander Grant here. I mean, is this the easiest answer? Would this not account for a lot of dark matter? That's when I conjectured the Uzumaki effect. I gave myself a very easy out. I said, basically just information. I have no idea what it is. It's probably some form of energy, of mass, and energy can be converted from one to the other. I'm like, okay. And there's quantum fluctuations in the vacuum. That's totally not the ether. I don't know. If we hook up some electrodes and let's say some type of fluid, depending on where certain things are, maybe we see some different resonance.
small scale, let's say, relative to large scale.
She
And
basically
so
keeps
as I
going
zoom
on deeper and
into the
deeper,
fractal,
and I'm just like, apparently there's some equations and stuff where we'll use I. It's a square root of -1. We're not supposed to be able to do that, and then we said we could, so we created the unit. It was in one of those things of mathematical constants we covered when we were going in Prince Rupert's cube or whatever. The Vinci constant. Basically, you can fit a cube that's larger. You can take a cube, and if you were to put it in a particular way, basically without completely touching, you could pass a larger cube through a cube. That that's kind of weird. That's also kind of awesome. Tommy, what's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. I know it's very busy. I'm supposed to be doing so many other stuff and things, but I took a nap. A lot of my dad's friends, God rest his soul, they told me never get old. These things happen. Ain't like you get a power 3-hour nap and all of a sudden, yay, full HP again. Oh, I still gotta go run. These things happen. But, all right, we need to stop the thing. We go to the other thing. All right, we just go back to the window here. Back to you, we click the other thing. All right, that was the thing we're not. Yes, I actually posted an Amazon link. Because this sounds like basically the stuff that Eric Dollar was talking. Basically, when you go into the imaginary realm, you're seeing these equations. It's like basically the claim from what I ended up hearing was if you're studying electromagnetism, because he worked for like the power company or I think RCA or something like that. He was a kid that I believe he was in a special needs program because I'm like, what I gotta do with you? And apparently seemed to be pretty dang brilliant. And he's made a lot of claims that I would need to see more evidence, but a lot of the other things he's saying, I've kind of heard other people saying a lot of the other same things. It's like, all right, if you do observe electromagnetism, at one point it's like, just kind of gets off our scope a little. It's what? Isn't that the whole Veritasium video where it's like, before we're like, how do you get power? You jiggle a bunch of electrons. You said it's like a series of tubes, and it's like, no, as long as the electrons are jiggling around, and there's a magnetic field. Apparently, there's an electric field and magnetic field basically everywhere. As long as the electrons are moving, that's going to generate power. I think that's pretty cool. But apparently, at one point, it's like if you're looking at some of these equations, it's like it kind of boops out. It's like I guess that's something about frequency. I hear that's very important. I see what I did there. So Basically, this was from, where is it? Nixie Thomas. Einstein did not attempt to explain the consistency of the velocity of light. He assumed it, and he derived theories accordingly. But we have, making a very bold claim. Go to Quora. Again, not much there. Is anyone able to explain Eric Dollitz's concept of space and counterspace? Oh, look. So many ads. Here's the top rated answer. Space is what we conceive of through senses of emptiness around objects. The contrary of space should be something like goes in another direction. So is why we call it counterspace. As space grows with distance, counterspace shrinks with distance. What space you have, let's say, between two. Oh, basically, okay, if gravity is going to basically contract space and stuff, if you get two things and everything, if space-time is literal, oh, that's pretty cool. Like it's geodesic. This phenomena. Here's the analogy with the lines of a ruler. Space being the blank or the distance between the lines, and counterspace being the lines itself. The phenomena of capacity is closely related with this complementary dimension to space. The less space you have between the lines, the more counter space you have, hence more capacitance. That's also important within electromagnetism. I've seen these words. That's why the Planck mass times the Planck length over the Planck charge squared comes out to be exactly 10 to the -7. It's like 0. It's basically to the -7th 1. Literally. Also apparently happens to be where a hinge point or something is in within a lot of our modern measurements and stuff. It's gonna go a little bit. Things seem to get funky around 7 digits. Thank you, Thad. So as we can see here, if you're a fan of physics, they call it as fourth dimension, which is bogus because height, width, and length are coordinates of magnitude, not dimensions. Like illumination and shadow, they exist in complement to each other. We also remember, there cannot be no darkness without light. You see, I thought about this from a kind of I'm like, if you're gonna get kind of metaphysical, if there's all light, wouldn't we just be blinded? There's all darkness we can't see. We're creatures of contrast. I'm just saying. Oh, I see you. I see you there, Tim. Welcome. That's that's the thing. Can you have consciousness without temperature? Something to think about. All right. Well, that's kind of cool. I should totally write an article. But what was it? Aether force. I thought there was no such thing as the luminiferous ether. Ether and back again. Means of destruction does not promote illicit use of ether. We're talking about the ether here. What is it like inside the sun? Rudolf Steiner's time and current model involving the burning of hydrogen through nuclear fusion to produce helium has not been developed extensively. I mean, apparently we can figure out all these things about black holes, and we're not close to one at all to our knowledge. I don't know. The sun's like what? 100,000 kilometers, 100 million kilometers away, 100,000, 97 million, something like that. Varies because it's kind of an ellipsoid. That's interesting. Steiner maintained that were it possible by some extraordinary means to travel to the inside of the sun, a big surprise would be in store. For far finding burning gas, he said, find less than nothing, not just negative matter, which is now known to physicists, but negative space. George Ahrens and Lochner Ernst found a way to describe such a space based on geometry, and a possible application of that physics will be sketched in this article. All right. Space, infinity, a circle. You get a parallel there. We get an ultra parallel. Oh, it's like a 90-degree angle. That's the thing where like you can't see light anymore. That happens at a black hole event horizon. Klein model of hyperbolic. Two parallel mean lines at the line of infinity. Oh, it's ultra Because hyperbolic lines would always diverge, and then, huh, this is really cool. But yeah, we're not reading this whole thing. But I'm just saying there's some different ways to conceptualize things. Well, if basically it seems that Einstein's general relativity seems to be able to describe our space time. What if we're not accounting for everything? Or if we're leaving a few things out? Heck, I mean, even if we can have all the explanations to all these different stuff and things, I mean, I don't think we're done. We're still going to need to figure stuff out. I'm just saying that maybe we can get to a point where it's like, I don't know, every human doesn't need to worry about being in an extraordinary poverty and worrying where their next meal's coming from. We could have replicators in 50 years. If we could get over ourselves, I think we could do that. Not to say that you can't do cool stuff and get other folks to do cool stuff. I mean, at that point, it's like, what's stopping us from exploring the cosmos? What's stopping us from literally doing like Minecraft IRL? We should be wary of the mistakes we've made in the past. We're gonna colonize the galaxy, or at least the solar system. Maybe let's try to avoid, I don't know, genocide, whether it's intentional or accidental. I'm just saying. Apologize for getting dark there. I'm just saying that I've talked to a lot of smart people on this internet stuff and things, and I've had the privilege of meeting some of them in real life. I believe in us. Counterspace. Inner Space was a very interesting movie. Maybe that's why I like giantesses. Well, these things happen, but hey, peace out, everybody. Be safe. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Enjoy your Kwanzaa. A Festivus for the rest of us. And that's all we got for now. Take care, everybody. Happy holidays and a happy new year. I might still be around.
Have you guys checked out the Memes of Destruction's channel? He's an interesting dude. I like him.